what we have advocated for and continue to advocate for, including the amendment that was defeated on procedural grounds this evening, is that we slow the growth of spending. That it's a necessary but difficult situation for us to make those tough decisions. We attempted this evening through the amendment to afford some time to do that. And we need to look for cost efficiencies. We need to do this not because it is easy for us, but because it is our responsibility. This county is heading in the wrong direction. We have depleted assets. We are, as a county, using an approach to borrow and spend instead of a pay-as-you-go approach. A lot has been said about, well, we only have control over a certain percentage of our budget. The number that is often thrown out there, the percentage that is thrown out there by the Republicans, is that we have only control over 20% of our budget. Now, let me be clear again. I fully support that we need to have control and rein in unfunded mandates. But let's be honest and forthright about what it is we're talking about. This 80% items move into mandated, they move out of mandated, depending on budget from year to year. This 80% of mandates, some of it's funded, some of it's fully funded, some of it's partially funded, and it's the unfunded portion that we need to be dealing with. Again, reducing the 80%. Furthermore, when we ask detailed questions from the administration about certain items that were included in the mandated portion of the budget, we found that references were given to state statute that were authorizing statutes, not requiring statutes, not mandating that we provide certain services, but that we are authorized as a county to provide those services. Furthermore, there is a constant blame game here between what we can do in the county and Albany. Again, let me reiterate. Having some say and reducing the amount of unfunded mandate, I support as an individual legislator, and we need to work toward that. But we need to be very honest and forthright about the items we're talking about. Making difficult decisions regarding budgets is not an easy thing for any of us to do. And based on the recommendation that we look at history, let us look at history not that long ago, but Erie County faced with a control board, and the controller's statements were attributing to the problems facing Erie County at the time in 2005, that its financial problems to years of structural imbalanced budgets, underestimated expenses, overestimated revenues, one-shot funding sources, and use of debt to pay for operating expenses. This budget, unfortunately, has all of those. This budget is a furthering of what we have seen historically over the last 7 years, where through one-shot revenues, this county has tapped into $209 million. This year alone, we're tapping into roughly $33 million of one-shot revenues. In addition, this budget has underestimated expenses. As Legislator Lightfoot pointed out, it defies logic that in these economic times, we have a downturn in the economy, we have families struggling, and not to factor in that there will be an increase in caseloads involving the various safety nets, if you will, in human services just defies logic. Underestimated expenses. Overestimated revenues. Number one, we've challenged at every committee meeting the estimations of what we will receive in the sales of the sales tax liens and the pilot agreement. In addition to that, we have revenues included in this budget that historically we've never collected. Those are overestimated revenues, with all due respect. One-shot funding, again, the $33 million in securitizing. First of all, with selling off the tax liens and then securitizing, which is really nothing more than taking future pilot payments and using them for current operating expenses. We start this year with a proposed budget that does not address the anticipated deficit that has been indicated in the last quarter key indicator report that we received of upwards of $7.3 million. Indeed, this is problematic. Indeed, this budget will ultimately cost taxpayers more money. It is true, the tax rate has not gone up. However, the tax levy has gone up, and taxpayers will pay more money there. But let me again reiterate that we have never proposed that the solution is raising taxes or increasing taxes. That would be inappropriate, especially in the economic climate that many of our families are facing today. What we do need to do is slow the growth of spending. We need to find more cost efficiencies. We need to do, as the amendment proposed, we need to ask every single department to dig deep and do what we ask every household to do, and that is tighten their belts, try to meet their expenses with less, and we as a county need to do that as well. For those various reasons, I will not be supporting this budget this evening. Thank you, Mr. President.
Dr. Clark.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm going to talk a little bit about why I'm enthusiastic about my support for this budget. I think tonight's discussion brings a lot of the issues to the fore. Why I'm really hopeful, because of what we saw tonight. Certainly there was a lot of partisan discussion tonight. Thankfully there wasn't as much as we had absolutely in years past. We had to argue about what portion of the budget is truly mandated, whether it's 80% or whether it's 20%, whether it's 79% or 78% or whether it's 82%. I understand that this is important at some level, but it's a mischaracterization to say that items switch from mandated to non-mandated from year to year. We've had clear explanations from the administration over and over and over again about why on the base year for the Taxpayer Protection Act, those items are included in the mandated portion. Whether or not you want to accept them for whatever reason is immaterial. There is an accounting in upstate New York, in particular in New York State more specifically, that would argue that unfunded mandates are the problem, as it was so well articulated by my colleague here in the front row. The unfunded mandate portion of our budget is what's shackling us. It's what keeps us hit with the difficulty of our structural imbalance, and it must be done. The reason that I am hopeful with regards to this issue is twofold. First of all, there seems to be a clear articulation from both sides of the aisle and from the administration that this is indeed the problem, and there seems to be a clear commitment, certainly on the from the administration's perspective and the Republican caucus's perspective, and now from the Democratic caucus's perspective, that unfunded mandates need to be addressed. I'm hopeful because we have a Democratic governor that's articulating the issue